Hello again, Year 5. This is Tuesday's lesson of week commencing the 18th of January. I still hope to see you soon. Obviously, we're under a month away now from coming back anyway. That's the main thing, isn't it? I'm going to try and keep this lesson short today because I want you to spend the maximum time you can writing, because today is our first lesson. You're going to be writing your introduction for your biography today. Okay, so your starters, still on commas. Where do the commas need to go in this sentence? You know what you're doing by now, so pause the video. Put the comma where you think, either jot it out or just point, I suppose. And I'll put the answer on the screen in a minute. I use blue, yellow, and green paint for my artwork. Where's it go? Okay, it goes there if you're just playing it again. So, we can see that because it's commas being used in a list, isn't it? So we've got blue, yellow, and green. I use blue, yellow, and green. It sounds really great. It almost sounds like something Bradley Chalkers would just spit out unnecessarily. Right. The boy who was great at reading could recite the story by heart. The boy who was great at reading could recite the story by heart. Where's the comma go? Pause the video here. When you've got the answer, play it again and I'll put the answer on the screen. The boy who was great at reading could recite the story from heart. Right, the comma goes here because it's another relative clause, isn't it? So, if we're using these here, we can see that the boy who was great at reading could recite the story by heart. It goes there because if I covered all that up, could recite the story by heart, we don't know what or who could, do we? Right, here we are. Here's the next one. Pause the video here, get on with your starter and play it for the answers. I'll put the answers on. I'm not going to explain it because, like I say, I want to get through this one really quick today. So, the wrapping paper had blue, white and yellow stripes. Another list. So the comma goes after blue, just there. And also after white because it's got lots of different ones, hasn't it? It's got 4 colours it's using. The Shard, the tallest building in Britain, is located in London. So the commas will go after the Shard and after Britain because it's showing parentheses. Parentheses is added information. The Shard is located in London, but through these parentheses, we also know that it's the tallest building in Britain. The candle was burning brightly, but I could see it was about to go out, it says on the end. There you go, it will go after brightly. Thomas smiled warmly and said, "Good afternoon." It will go after warmly. Thomas smiled warmly and said, "Good afternoon," because I'll show you that box again very quickly. We wouldn't know who said or what said good afternoon without that, would it? It's a relative clause. And lastly, dramatically, the song finished with a bang. So it goes just after dramatically, because it's like an adverbial opener, isn't it? As we can see with the ly. Okay. What have you planned to write? How will you start your biography? Now, obviously, I have not seen your plans yet, but I'm sure if they're anything like you produce in school, they'll be as good as, if not better, because we've had so much practice at doing it. How are you going to start your biography? What subheadings are you going to use? You're going to use the same ones as on your note sheet, the one that looked like this. Or are you going to use one that's slightly different? Okay. Right, in pairs, because I've planned this, or you have to do it by yourself for now. I want you to read the example biography introductions. You will be using post-it notes to give it a warm and cold critique. You can just write this down in your books. Tell me what's good about this introduction. Tell me what could be done better. So, Tim Peake, brackets born April 7th, 1972, is a British astronaut and military officer who, in 2016, while on a mission to the International Space Station, became the first official British astronaut to walk in space. And I also want you to think about the question underneath. What is important to include an introduction? You can see my little video there for you as well. Why? Allow me to introduce myself. Okay, what did you think was good? I like to think about this one is it does a good job. It uses some good language features such as parentheses. It tells us when he was born. Obviously, this is our introduction. It's just an overall paragraph on who Tim Peake is, and we're going to go into more detail later on. So we can say that he's a British astronaut, and we know that I'm sure that those of you who have researched Tim Peake will have found that he's been in the army, and in 2016 we've got into detail. We've got in some detail. We said who he is basically, which is good. I think that's a good introduction. I just think that you guys can do better. And I know that those of you that have researched and want to write about Helen Sharman will have done a lot better than that. Okay, we'll have a different look at one. So that's the same one. We've said what we like. I've said what I liked about it. I think we can improve that by adding more detail. So here's a different one. So, Tim Peake, 1972, taught. That means he's still alive, because obviously he's not had a year in which he's died, because he's still alive. He's a British astronaut who became famous when he spent 6 months living and working on the International Space Station, or the ISS, in 2015/16. He was the first British astronaut to board the ISS in a laboratory 400 kilometres from Earth. Now that's gone into more detail. And it's also used here. We've also got some examples there of some really, really good facts here, which I'll just highlight in red. I only meant to do that one, so I don't know why it's all gone in red. Well, we've added some more to it anyway. That's the main thing. And even though it's a lot more detailed, and I think it's certainly better than the last one, this one, I still think that we could do better. So let's read the third one. Tim Peake, 1972 to. He's a British astronaut who became famous when he spent 6 months living in and working on the International Space Station, the ISS. He was the first British astronaut to go to the ISS and the second British astronaut ever. He has a wife and 2 children, and he's often called one of the most influential British people alive today, and has done a lot of work to ensure that young people around the world take up an interest in science and the universe. Now, I think that is brilliant for an introduction, and I know for a fact that everyone in both my class and Miss Biggs's class can certainly do an introduction that is as good, if not better than that. We've got lots of important. We've been asked to write this biography because we want to make sure that more people take up an interest in science. So we've got that he's influential. We've said that he is ensuring young people around the world take up an interest in science and the universe, and that is exactly why we want to write this introduction. I think it's absolutely vital that you get something like that in and tell the reader that he's influential, because we want to make sure that any other young people who do read your biography, about these 2 astronauts know why they are so important. And I think that you guys can certainly do a really good job at this. Okay, so I've put the line paper on this page because I'm expecting you to have a go. I've given you some examples. I've said what makes this example the best, what detail I'm expecting, what's supposed to look like. I would maybe pause it on this screen, whether you're doing Tim Peake or Helen Sharman, and I would start to write down your introduction, getting some of the facts that you found out from the other day, maybe from this sheet where you collected all your facts. I think that would be a great way to start, and I think that would be a great part to put in. You don't need a subheading for your introduction. Your introduction stands alone, and then you start with your subheading on the different parts of the person's life that you're writing about. Okay, like I said at the start, it is now under a month until we're back properly, until I get to see all your lovely faces again, and Miss Biggs gets to see yours as well, along with the rest of the Year 5 team. We're looking forward to seeing you, I know that much. And I want to make sure that you're all staying safe, so that when we do come back, you can all come back in a safe way, and we can get everybody back as soon as possible. Okay, I hope everybody takes care. I hope everybody has fun as well as doing their learning, and I'll speak to you tomorrow when we do our literature lesson again. Alright, goodbye, Year 5.